My girlfriend's pregnant finally. I have no use for you anymore, and I want you out of this house right now.
My husband's outburst took me completely by surprise. I knew something like this was gonna happen sooner or later, but even so, my chest felt like it was going to explode. Hello there. I'm a 30-year-old housewife, and I've been married to my husband for 3 years now. We live together, the two of us, in a rental apartment downtown. He and I went to the same college, and that's where we first met and started dating. After we graduated, we both found jobs in different companies, but we still kept the relationship alive, even with a certain number of obvious obstacles. Because we were together for more than 5 years at the time, we knew each other's personalities very well. My husband is a very independent man, and very responsible too. You could easily depend on him if you needed help with something, but like all people, he had some cons, the most prominent of which was his shortness of temper, and a little egotistical, selfish. I've been told by my friends and colleagues that I have a very easygoing character. As someone who's indecisive, someone like my husband who could quickly make a good decision and act accordingly always appeared as someone worthy of respect in my eyes. 3 years ago, he proposed marriage to me, and we later tied the knot. I started a new life with a husband whom I could trust what was right for both of us, but it didn't take too long before I started to notice wrong in our relationship. Little did I know these little things would blow up to something with unimaginable consequences, including a divorce. I used to work as an administration clerk in a central hospital downtown, but I left my job and became a housewife, per my husband's request. During the first while after getting married, I spent my days taking care of him in the home, and it was nice and peaceful. However, I began to suspect that his selfishness became increasingly more substantial and annoying. For example, unless I did exactly what he instructed me to do the night before, he got angry with me when I woke him up. "Hey, honey, it's about time to get up."
Yeah, I'm up. I'm getting up. Ow! Oh, my neck.
"Here, how's this?" The first thing I would do when he woke up every morning was to massage his neck and shoulders. I essentially helped him wake up completely, since he wasn't a morning person at all. "I'm sorry." He shoulders my hands off and extends a hand behind him. I give him a fresh, clean towel. He stands up himself and strides to the bathroom to wash his face. This towel has to have been cleaned that same morning. It has to be a dry, fluffy towel that smells of fabric softener. Otherwise, he just wouldn't be able to wake up well enough. Finally free from massaging my husband awake, I hurry downstairs to get breakfast ready, just as he wanted it. Toast with butter, 2 eggs sunny side up, 3 sausages, potato salad, and a cup of black coffee.
Hey, this coffee tastes pretty bitter, honey.
It does? I'm sorry.
You do realize that the first cup of coffee in the morning really makes a difference during the day, right? If I mess up something at work, you're gonna feel the consequences as much as I will.
I guess you're right. I'm sorry. I'll make another cup.
Oh, don't bother. While normal people improve over time, you somehow manage to stay bad at making coffee forever anyway. And also, I don't want you to use this plate early in the morning. Ugh, you really don't have any sense of style when it comes to color for real.
I endure the constant complaining and lecturing from my husband until it's finally time for him to head off to work. He commutes to work in my car, and I drive him every morning.
Hey, my shoes are grody. And also, you expect to take me to work wearing That? Come on now, honey. You don't want me to look embarrassed, do you? Surely you have something nicer to wear?
I polish off his shoes at breakneck speed and rush into a one-piece dress before bursting outside into the car and start the engine. An aroma that reminds me of soap started to spread around the car, and it being a hot summer morning, I set the air conditioner to make the temperature inside just right and comfortable. Right when it became nice inside, my husband climbs aboard. During the 30-minute drive to his work, he always looks through the documents assigned to him, and I can finally have some peace and quiet. In my view, this is literally the only time I feel like I can be relaxed and happy in the company of my husband. I always felt a sense of accomplishment that I, admittedly a rather incompetent woman around the house, was sending him off to work, to battle essentially. That was how every morning was, and as you can tell, it's pretty brutal already. I grew less and less confident I could raise children in this house if this kept going on. And now that we're talking about the possibility of children, as you can probably assume by now, my husband was against it. After dropping him off at work, I often stopped by a kindergarten nearby and watched many mothers drop off their beautiful children at school. This sight filled me with a strong sense of pain. I believed it was my fault I couldn't get children, being a semi-incompetent wife and all, so I told myself to suck it up, move on, and try to do better. One day, I got a phone call from an old friend from university. She was also a friend of my husband's, and we sometimes hung out together, the three of us. "It's been a while. How you've been?" "It really has been a while." "Yeah, I'm doing all right." "And how's that husband of yours? Still as sprightly as he once was?" "Yeah, he's doing his best at work. He actually told me yesterday he might be getting a promotion soon." "Oh, is that so? Wait, that's it? He didn't tell you anything else?" My friend sounded very hesitant on the line. I had no idea what she was talking about, so I was honest with her and asked her, "What do you mean by anything else? Is there something going on I should know about?" "Listen, sweetie, I want you to promise me you'll listen to me calm and composed." That made me realize that something terrible was happening with my husband, and then my friend started telling me the most shocking, unbelievable story. She told me the month before, she went on a hot spring vacation for a few days in another region with her family, and, completely by chance, she met my husband at the hotel she was staying in just like that. My husband was with another woman, and my friend met them as they were walking down the hall, arms locked, and in their yukatas. As they crossed paths in a narrow hostel hall, my husband and my friend locked eyes. She was so surprised, she completely lost her voice for a few minutes. He recognized her too, and instantly donned an atmosphere of embarrassment. The day that my friend saw him with another woman was coincidentally one of the days he said he would be away on a business trip. "That's a lie! I can't believe it!" That bastard really thought he could hide the truth from me, knowing I noticed him with another woman. What a pig! What am I going to do? What do you think I should do? What to do? I think the first thing that comes to mind is to talk to him. I'm on your side in this, sweetie. You let me know if you need any help. My friend was very encouraging, and that helped me a whole lot. She even sent me a photograph she took, telling me she took it just in case he started to play innocent. The photo was one of a man and a woman sitting close together in what appears to be a hostel corridor. His lover wore ridiculously high heels and had admittedly very attractive legs. My husband's right hand was on one of her knees, and he was looking at her as he had looked at me once upon a time. How old was she even? She looked younger than me by a fair margin. She had long, brawn, beautiful curly hair, and her face was honestly the very picture of feminine beauty. Symmetrical features emphasized by just the right amount of makeup. I was convinced I was doing everything I could to make my husband happy. And now that I'm beholding this ghastly scene, it made me wonder what the point of me trying so hard to support him even was, and I instantly became crestfallen. That evening, when my husband came home from work, I told him, with a pale face, that I wanted to talk to him about something. I could tell from his face that he instantly knew it was about his trip with his lover.
That bitch. She freaking blabbed, didn't she?
Just as my friend and I suspected, he noticed she saw him and his lover together. Watch that language. She was worried about us, you know.
It's none of her freaking business. It's none of yours, too. So what if I'm cheating on you? It's not like you have anything to do about it.
He was actually smiling, so sinisterly, and went on to stare at me in a scornful way. Are you really having an affair?
Yes, I am. I'm going out with another woman, and she's my darling girlfriend. You got no right to say anything about it. I'm working to make enough for you to survive, and I'm looking after you in every aspect possible. I'm doing what every husband is expected to do, and you can't deny that.
But an affair?
Don't tell me you're thinking of splitting up, eh? You're really thinking about divorcing me and living on your own, eh? Ask yourself this. Can you really freaking do that?
No, I'm not. I just want to talk and think things over with you.
And here I am talking about the situation and thinking things over for you. You're not even half decent as a housewife. Your massages are pathetic, your breakfast is often bland, and we always leave for work a couple minutes late. And yet you won't allow me some leisure outside the house. There's a line where concern becomes control, you know, and I hate a jealous woman.
I'm so sorry. I promise you I'll try harder to do better around here. Just please stop the affair. Please. If someone else found out about what's going on...
Is that a threat? You're gonna tell everyone, are you? Oh, the moment you do that, my image in the company is gonna hit rock bottom. My promotion's gonna be gone forever. I just hope you'll accept the responsibility afterwards.
Go ahead. Consider me a hopeless optimist for hoping he would apologize for having an affair. Not only did he prove to me brutally wrong, but he also had the audacity to complain about how inflexible I was. But I knew he was absolutely right. I was a terrible housewife. That's why I couldn't say anything back. And he was also right about the fact that if I made a fuss about how he was having an affair, his whole job would be in jeopardy, let alone his promotion. Everything would be okay if I just bucked the hell up. I was forced to accept the role of the merciful, understanding wife, and had no choice but feign ignorance about his affair. Perhaps my husband realized I couldn't do or say anything about his affair, because soon thereafter, he started having phone calls with this other woman within earshot.
Great idea! That's one place I've always wanted to try. You really have the most amazing sense of style, darling. It's incredible. I just wish the wife would learn a thing or two from you for real. I want to see you so badly. You're my soul's spa, my heart's oasis, my mind's paradise. This house is like the driest desert on earth, with how bland and boring it is.
I overheard words of condescension towards me as he talked to that other woman, compared me to her and always favoring what she had to offer him. My patience was really wearing thin. The fact that I had to put up with this bullshit was becoming too much to bear. One day, my friend who informed me of everything called me again. I was honestly relieved to hear from her again, because I really didn't have anyone else to look to for help. She asked me how things were going, and she was surprised when I admitted I hadn't gone through with a divorce. What? So I guess he broke up with his lover then, huh? No, he didn't. They're still together. Wait, what? Are you getting a divorce in the near future? Or are you living separately at the moment? No, I'm not going to do either of those. If I do anything like that, He's gonna have a hard time, is why. Hold on a second. I have no idea what you're trying to say. Listen to me. Are you okay? Did you talk to someone? Anyone? Do your parents know about this? Absolutely not. I can't tell them that. I honestly didn't want to talk to her anymore. All the options she was offering were only going to make life difficult for my husband. I just had to find a way to shut her up, so as not to ruin anything for me or my husband. Promise me that you won't ever tell anyone the truth that he's cheating, okay? Promise me. If anything gets out, we're finished as a married couple. Finished! I'm begging you. Please keep this a secret. Please. He's gonna get so angry if he finds out the truth is out, so please keep this a secret. I heard her gasp. I'm honestly not sure if I would have done the same or not. A long moment of silence ensued, and then my friend responded with the calmest, sweetest tone known to mankind. I understand. My lips are sealed, sweetie, and that's a promise. Thank you. Thank you. But could I, pay you a visit sometime soon? I've been meaning to hang out with you for a while now. I'll bring the cake you like so much. Huh? I mean, sure, of course. But when are we talking? Right now. Stay right where you are. I'll be there in about an hour. All right, I'll be here. I was a little annoyed with her overprotectiveness, but the words "I'll bring the cake you love so much" changed my mind in a heartbeat. Now that I think about it, I don't think I'd eaten anything until I was full in days. My tummy rumbled and I rubbed it. Wait, was my belly really this flat? And the fact that she was coming right now, what did that mean? Wasn't she at work right now? What was her job again? Ah, that's right, a clinical psychologist. Perhaps today's her day off. Just as she said, she arrived about an hour after we had that phone call, and I was so shocked to see her so pale. She looked as though she had a few dozen tequila shots too many. What's the matter? Why do you look so sick? Wait, hang on. Why are you crying? My friend took one look at me, somehow managed to go even paler, and started to cry. The hell do you mean, what's wrong? I mean, look at you. You look so thin, you could squeeze through your wedding ring. And your hair, it's littered with white hairs. Oh, sweetie, you look absolutely pitiful. My friend discovered me in an abominable state, so much so that the shock of beholding such a creature shocked her enough to go dangerously pale, and to fail in holding back the tears. On that day, I ate the cake and the English tea that she'd brought, and for the first time in what seemed like centuries, I felt full. She sat me down and helped me in all kinds of ways. I realized that it was literally the first time I'd ever drunk a cup of warm tea that someone else had poured in this very house. Now, feeling very relaxed and refreshed, I slowly started to explain things to my friend, who listened intently. After I was done, she told me that in her eyes, I was under so much stress that I didn't even have a firm grasp on myself anymore. My sense of self-preservation had gone astray, and all that was left was a hollow shell, desperately trying to make things work between it and a cheating husband. She'd immediately felt like something was wrong, considering my protective behavior towards my husband. And that's why she felt like she had to rush over here to my aid. I'm sorry about earlier. Of course you'd be worried if I said something strange like that. I'm just glad you're not in a condition as bad as I feared, sweetie. I was preparing to drag you kicking and screaming to the hospital if you didn't listen to reason soon. Yeah. In retrospect, justifying my husband as dastardly affair must have been something totally bonkers. What he's doing is cruel and can't be forgiven. Why didn't I accept this sooner? Don't blame yourself so much, sweetie. First things first, though, you just have to eat a lot more and get that physical strength back. Got it. Thanks so much. And also, I know you won't like the idea, but I think you should talk to your parents about this whole thing. But if my husband found out, you know full well your parents are not the kind of people to take secrets lightly. And I already promised I'm not going to tell anyone at all. I think the element of secrecy is pretty intact. I guess you're right. I'll try my best so that he doesn't find out. Your mind will only get stronger and healthier as long as your body also gets stronger and healthier, sweetie. Then, you can finally start rationally thinking about a divorce. I still didn't want to accept that I had the option of a divorce at that point, but I also knew that this wasn't going to work. As per her recommendation, I called Mom right then and there. Dad was there with her, and once they truly realized the situation of their daughter enduring my husband's affair, they went absolutely ballistic with shock and fury. I handed the phone to my friend, who then explained my physical condition calmly and in detail. And the bitter truth was that if I'd gone just another couple days like this, I would have gone completely insane. My parents started to cry once they understood how serious it was. They went on to try and convince me to come back home to them, but I declined their offer for now because I didn't see the point. I would just be the same thin, weakened woman who still has a big problem to deal with. Just know that you're welcome here anytime, honey. Don't overexert yourself, understand?
We have an idea what to do in the near future, so just leave everything to us and don't worry about a thing, okay?
Of course. This is all my fault for being so weak of mind and spirit. I'm really sorry, Mom. Dad? Oh, come now. You're so sweet and silly, darling. You don't have to apologize for anything at all.
You did nothing wrong, my dear. Stand tall and proud, and things will look up soon enough. You'll see.
I felt a huge weight float away from my shoulders once I told my family my predicament. After I hung up, my friend told me that my expression looked nothing like the one I donned when I first opened the door. She said I looked like the blood had started pumping through my body properly again. Damn, was I really that horrendous? And now, I awoke from a nightmare so deadly my mind was at stake. I realized that in order to end all this and to be free from my husband, I had to make a stand and fight back for myself. I contacted my old job again, who gladly hired me back with shorter hours, and I started to work again without my husband noticing. I would drop him off at work, as usual, and instead going home thereafter, I would just go to my job. There was a blank slate in my career that 3 whole years, but because it was the kind of work that I liked doing, and because of my past experiences, I got accustomed to the work very quickly. Going back to work gave me the opportunity to look myself objectively, and I began to realize how cruelly and unfairly my husband had been treating me for a long time. My friend and I kept in close communication, and we started going out to lunch or shopping together more regularly. I also visited my parents without him knowing I was, giving them consolation that I was doing a lot better. I also tried to change my morning routine with my husband. He always complained in the same manner without fail when I gave him a towel washed the day before, fragrant with the smell of aromatics, or when I gave him microwaved coffee that had gone cold a few moments earlier. So among the psychological abuse, it was the most tolerable. My husband himself is still together with his lover, and he still says and does unfair things to his own wife, who's trying to be as loyal as she can. And one day, I found out who his lover was completely by accident at work. I knew it was her the moment she walked in through the front door. She quickly made her way towards the gynecology department. If my old self had found out right around then, without working my job and getting better in general, I would have told him immediately. But as an administrative clerk of a medical institute, I pledged to an oath of patient information confidentiality, and I remained silent accordingly when she stopped by. In due time, my husband was promoted to chief manager, and the moment he did, the husband who was so adamantly against the idea of divorce suddenly became the complete opposite.
My lover's pregnant now. You've done your job. I have no more use for you. Get out of this house.
I was already set on divorcing him in the first place, but the way he said that, with that tone, that smirk, and that look of condescension in his eyes, it made me all the more cold and emotionless towards the situation.
Now that I'm the manager at my job, she is the right woman for me. She's a beautiful woman, And she's also the daughter of the president of another enterprise. She's nothing like you, who has nothing to show for.
She's pregnant. Is that true?
Yep, she's been hiding that for a while now because of the fact that I was already a married man. But I saw the mother and child notebook I happened to see inside her purse. It's solid proof she's pregnant with my child. Heaven has blessed me with a child that'll inherit their grandfather's enterprise and make mine a household name. No, scratch that. I'm going to be the next president and give my true family the life they deserve.
I'd already known his lover was pregnant, so I decided to just leave him with a warning. Are you sure? You'll regret this, you know.
Like friggin' hell I will.
And that's how we officially decided to get a divorce. After the arrangements were dealt with, I moved back in with my parents and switched my part-time employment to my job to full-time. A new life had begun for me. After a while, my ex-husband called me, and it sounded urgent. Turns out, he wanted to undo the divorce if that was legally possible. Didn't you marry that woman because you got her pregnant?
Yeah, about that. We, had different opinions. In the end, we didn't go through with it. In any case, I'm done with her completely. It's all right for you to come back now.
What the heck are you saying? You can't be this stupid.
What? And just who the hell do you think you're talking to?
Seemed like he was completely convinced I would be overjoyed to come back to him. That was probably the biggest mistake of his life, alongside cheating on me in the first place. And I knew he was gonna do something like this in due time. The last piece of the puzzle is that when she came to the institution I was working in to go to a doctor, she'd come with her husband. After some research, it turned out her husband is the president of a certain enterprise. And the last straw was that they already had 3 children, the youngest of which is still only 5 months old. Perhaps the notebook that my husband had glimpsed was the one of her youngest child. I'm pretty sure he thought that that kind of notebook was only given to women who were expecting a child. The patient information board revealed the truth about this woman. She had a long history of cosmetic surgery to look younger. And the woman, who my husband thought was a president's daughter, was actually a president's wife. And she was actually 7 years older than me. She'd hidden the fact that she was already a married woman and got together with my husband. From the beginning, her relationship with my husband was nothing but playtime. My ex-husband had proposed to her after he thought he found that she was pregnant, and she basically averted the question and ran away from him entirely. I told my ex-husband, "You had an affair with another woman, and you wanted to divorce. I have absolutely no intention of getting back together with you now."
But without me, you wouldn't be able to survive, would you? You don't have a job. You don't have a home. You have to come back because otherwise your life is going to be miserable.
Yep, always with the childish complaining. I told him, plain, simple, and straight to the point, since when am I that hopeless? I have my family by my side now, as well as many friends. I have a job too, and I'm making enough to support myself well. I'm not desperate without you, sir, and I'm doing just fine on my own. He scrambled to find the right words to say, and I continued. I've already demanded your lover a good deal of compensation, and, of course, I'm doing the preparations to send demands to you, too. Expect them to come within a couple days, and that's all I have to say. If you have anything to tell me, you may do so through my lawyer. My ex couldn't have been more certain I would spring at the opportunity of another chance with him.
Compensation? A lawyer? Very funny, honey. You almost had me with that one.
And what makes you think this is a joke, sir? Oh, and you should get ready to move out of that rental apartment you're living in right now. There's no renewal of the contract.
Hey, I pay the rent around here.
Don't tell me you've forgotten. You don't remember that the owner of the apartment is my own father? By his policy, tenants with a history of untrustworthy actions, cheating included, must be turned away. I'm afraid. Goodbye now. With that as my parting shot, I hung up. All things considered, I felt guilty of transforming him from a kind man with a good heart into this merciless tyrant. All because I let him boss me around the house and let him complain about everything I didn't do to his liking. And that's all more reason why I'm never gonna forgive him. I'd given my last farewell forever, and boy, was I proud afterward. My ex's contract with that apartment was terminated soon after, and after a short while of panic searching for a new place to live, he managed to find a small apartment where he's now settled. Since he depended on me to take care of his life for him, he quickly became increasingly disorganized. And eventually, that was reflected in his job as chief manager. Now, he's facing criticism from the company he works for, and I hear that unless he makes some changes, he's gonna get demoted. As for me, I plan to keep on working my job and gain more and more independence as a woman and as a functioning member of society. I vowed never to allow myself to get controlled by another person again, and I'm determined to grow into a strong, kind person.